Evening, everyone. It's 10 minutes after 6, and this is Thursday afternoon. Your closing comment video number 1582. Okay, so I'm not going to go into all of the details here. I'm sure you already know. Dow was down over 700, 763. It was down almost 1,000 at one point. Nasdaq down 360. That was the big loser, 3.23%. Um, S&P closed just off its low, down 99.57, 2.5%, 2.5% on the Russell, down 45.85, and 2.7% on the Dow Jones transports. Advanced declines were 5 to 1 down on the NYSE and 3 to 1 down on NASDAQ. And volume was 5.4 billion, which is pretty much what we did yesterday. You know, just a bunch of long liquidation. Uh, the cause, in case you haven't heard yet, specifically was the market's concern over Powell's statement, not so much that rates were going to rise, but he unequivocally said he is not going to pivot. God, I hate that word. Pivot and lower rates for the year next year. So everybody kind of finally figured out that the only way for the market to get higher would be the PE improvement, and that's just not going to happen. Everybody is lowering their earnings. A lot of them are just sandbagging, so they look a little better than you'd think. But nonetheless, the market hated it. It hated it in most of the futures. Gold was down $31. Oil was down $1.17, which is really not bad considering that it was 72. Actually, lower than that, and we closed today at 76.11, down another 117. Bitcoin was down 400. I'll get to that in a minute. The dollar was higher, bonds were higher, so that kind of doesn't figure, except that the dollar is the only currency that is comparable with a basket of currencies. And we had rate increases today from the Bank of England, the ECB, Swiss National Bank, Hong Kong Monetary Authority. They all raised half a point. Norges Bank raised their benchmark by a quarter. So we also had lowered China retail sales, industrial production, and here we had a big miss in retail sales. Industrial production was about as expected at down. Well, actually, it was that also was a big miss, down 0.2% versus expectations of up 1%. Capacity utilization 79.7, and that was down from 79.8. Also, one of the things that really got us here was the fact that not only were retail sales a miss, but the Philly Fed Index and the Empire State Manufacturing Survey were all big misses. I think Empire was down 11.2 versus an expectation of down 1%. Tesla, one of the very few stocks that was actually up on the day today. It wasn't up much, but the news was around the fact that Musk has sold an additional 22 million shares to raise 3.58 billion, and frankly, Um, this morning we were 152, the low of the day. That was pre-open. The low of the day, though, was 153.28, so it never traded down there. Got up to 165.55, and the last was 157.94, and that's up $1.14 or 0.73. Earnings today, Adobe came out after the close with a beat, and the stock which had closed at 328.71, down 11 and change. First traded a little bit lower, got down to 320 spot 30, and then turned right back up and got as high as 350.99. The last is 345, up 508. So it went from down 3.3% to up 1.5%. So that's a pretty nice reversal. Another big loser today was Netflix. They were returning money to advertisers because they did not make their viewership numbers. So they returned, I think the number was 80% of what had been paid for that. Netflix closed I'll tell you what the last is since it trades till 8 o'clock. Um, the last is 289.51, and that is down 28.48 or 9%. So, this stock has been all over the place lately. Last month, the beginning of the month, it started off at 211 and change. 2 days ago, on Tuesday, it was 332. That's a pretty nice move. So even here at 290, it has only given up about a third of what it's made in the last 6 weeks. Another one with a miss, way down from the high, Rblx. They missed subscriber numbers, they missed in-app purchases, etc. And Rblx closed yesterday at 33.13. The low this afternoon, 26.85. The last 27.75. That's down 543, and that is 16%. So pretty ugly. And the all-time low, which was only in June, was that's not the all-time low. The all-time low was in May at 21.65, and just as a comparison, this time last year the stock was 141. So pretty ugly. Okay, chart on the screen is the S&P. I'm bringing this up because I told you when we closed on Tuesday that it was going to be ugly to the downside. Was it Tuesday? No, it was Wednesday. No, I'm right. I'm sorry. It was Tuesday. We got up as high as 41.80, came all the way back down and closed up on the day, but much closer to the low. Yesterday we had a little bit of a rally and we turned lower. And of course this morning, we had it coming down hard. I would say that this is probably awfully oversold and in an area where it should be able to gain some traction around that 3,900 level. Today the low was 39.08 and we closed at 39.25. So we could see a little bit of a bounce tomorrow, which is, I remind you, triple witching. It will be all over the place. So that's where we are there. Our coffee trade, which expires tomorrow, looks like we're going to take it right down to the edge because yesterday it was strongly higher and today it was up another 360. So here we've gone from the 12th, which was Monday, We went from the prior day's close at 158. We went all the way down to 154.55, which was a slightly higher low. And then we turned and finished $11 higher and up on the day 890. 2 days of consolidation, and then today again up 360. If we could get just a little bit higher, we'd be able to sell those calls for, I don't know, 85 cents or $1. The other chart I want to show you is the nat gas, which was the only one of the energy sectors that was up, and net gas closed 697, up 54. It's down just a speck here tonight, just reopened. But what was impressive was we left this little island. We came down and closed that gap yesterday before closing down there. Today it went just ever so slightly down, but not lower. Low here, I believe, was 633. Low here is 635.8, and we had a huge run up here today. Our UNG spread that we have on to January spread long at 18, out at 23. Increased again today. It closed at 401 to 190. So that's about where we actually sold some at 22. But the thing to watch here is the one we're long was up 91 cents. The one we're short was only up 48 cents. So we're outperforming pretty handily here. And so while the spread might be worth as much as $5 if we get it over 23, today's close with those two numbers, $2.11. We're in it at $1. All right, everyone, I'll be back first thing in the morning. There really isn't any big economic news coming tomorrow. I think that the only thing that we see tomorrow is IHS market manufacturing PMI. The prior is 47.7, and the service PMI, which last month was 46.2. Those will not be out until after the market opens, so I won't be able to give you that in my pre-opening comment. All right, everyone. Hope you had a good day. It was a tough one out there. I'll be back in